Hi, this is Shondell Joyce. Thank you for joining me for this online demonstration. Here is the palette of colors I'll be using. This is the photo reference, which is an AI photo. I start off with a hard pastel and sketch loosely to put in the darkest darks. I always think of these as a pattern. How can I pull the viewer through the composition? So I connect the pattern of darks just like I connect the pattern of lights and highlights at the end. So starting off with the hard darks first, I'm laying it in with a new pastel, and I'm going to go on top of it with dark blue and dark brown soft pastels to create some softer texture. Starting with the cooler shade first, I put in the clothing, the cool darks on the cute little girl's hair, and some of the other cooler darks. Now, this is like a dark chocolate color, cordovan color, and it's a warmer brown. So with the warmer color, I put in some of the warmer darks, the front of the girl's hair, the eyebrows, some of the darks on her facial features and lines, some of the darks on the dog, the wet fur, the texture. So I go around and connect all of these darks together. Now the darkest darks are in place. I'm moving to the 4 values. The 4 value cool is some of the darks you see in uh, the browns for the warm, the blues for the cool. So I'm starting on putting some of the puppy warms in place with the browns around the side. And then on the girl, I'm putting in a violet for the sky reflection on her hair. Violet is an unusual color to use, but it's a cool color. In this case, it could go either way. If I had it next to some warmer colors, it would read as a warm color. Here it's reading as a cool color. I'm pulling it through the composition, using it as a cool 4. Opposite the violet would be a warmer brown. This warm brown color I'm using for the inside of her ear, for the neck, and I'm taking it down into the face of the puppy, using a lot of that warm brown on the puppy. It's also the color of her eyes. And since I have it, I bring it into a few other places, the fingers, the hair, and so forth. That is it for the 4 value. I have all the 4 value in place. Next, I'm moving to the 3s. The 3s are going to include an intense bright color. This color is reddish orange. It's the darker part of her life jacket, and it's reflecting on the features. You don't see it so much in the photo because it's an AI photo, but if we were to see this cute little girl in real life, we would see that color reflecting and bouncing off of her wet features and even the puppy's wet fur. That's not the only color on the life jacket, but it's the most intense and the darkest. Next, I'm moving to a cooler color, and this is the mauve color that is the crest shadows on the sockets of her eyes, the corners of her mouth, corners of her nose, the soft rounded cheek, parts of the ear, the fingers, the shadowy parts of the fingers, and the puppy. Now you're starting to see some shape to the head. Those crest shadows, the dark values, are the ones that really help to pull it together. Next, I'm using a more intense and warm 3. This is an orange color, It's more of the intense orange that you see on the Life Preserver. I'm also using it on the puppy, reflecting it through the whole composition. Um, this is a little touch up around the eyes. We've pretty much made it through all of the 3 values. So now I'm moving to the 2s. This is the warm 2, and the warm is a skin tone. So this is the warm part of her face that is on the outer edges. It's also roughly the color of the puppy's fur, the lighter color. So I'm using it to create some color harmony, blocking it in both on the little girl and on the puppy. Notice that the warmer part of her face is the rounded part leading up to the hair, the forehead, the cheeks, and so forth. It's in the creases of the nose. The cooler parts of the face are the ones that are facing forward and getting some reflection from the water. I'm cleaning up some of the areas and blending by layering pastel right now and putting a cooler version of that mauve in place. So the cooler version is more like a taupe. It has, or I'm sorry, the warmer version is more like a brown. So now we have most of her face in place. Most of the surface of the ampersand pastel board is covered. So I'm going to come in with some of the lights, the lighter lights. Now these are my 1 values. The lightest light on the warm side is a pink light. So this pink color is the color of the face. She's very pale because she's getting some of the reflection of the water around her. I'm using that on the bottom of the eyelids to help shape the gaze. And everywhere else, I'm basically covering any blank surface that's left over with that warm color. I'll scumble the cool color on top of it in a minute, but for now, I'm filling in with a warm color all around, putting that all on her arms and fingers as well, and even a little bit on the fur of the puppy as I go, especially towards the center. Next, I'm going to scumble some of the blue right on top of the warm. This is going to cool that warm. And the blue is a light color, so it's a 1. Notice that the color on the puppy is not pure white. It's off-white. It's a cooler color. Hence, that's where the blue comes in. The blue is a cool light. The light in her eyes is not white. It's a bluish color. So she's getting some sky reflection. Next, I'm going to reassert some of my darks that might have gotten painted over in the painting dark to light process. Finish up with some of the hair texture, bring it on top of the life jacket over the face, and reassert some of the fur on the puppy at the same time. At this point, I have all those skin tones, those painterly skin tones in place. Oh, what a heartbreaking picture. This picture is AI, by the way, so it's not necessarily real. Don't get your heart broken too quick. Because it's AI too, there is no copyright, so that's a helpful thing. Now I'm going to break in some background colors. I'm putting a warm color for the floodwater right behind the girl's face, and a cool color for the floodwater in the background. I'm bringing that same color in to finish up the texture and the fur on the puppy. The puppy's fur would be reflecting a lot of the light from the surrounding area, so I'm making sure I get that in place. And I'm using a cooler version of that color in the water to go behind the girl's head and create a dark back there that's a little cooler that will help push her head forward. And I'm bringing that color into the scalp of the girl and putting a few droplets of water on her hair and skin. And that's the final detail. That's my story, and I'm sticking to it. I hope you enjoyed this and will join me for live online classes through Zoom, where I interact with you one on one. In Pastel is Wednesday evenings, 3 evenings a month. You can sign up on my website. Hope to see you then. Thank you.